All right, let's get right into it. If you're an artist with a record deal, you know exactly how those royalty statements can feel. Kind of like a black box, right? Well, what if I told you there's a key, a special clause hidden right there in your contract that gives you the power to unlock that box and check the math for yourself? Yep, we're talking about audit rights. And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's that sinking feeling so many artists get when they look at a statement, that sense that the numbers just don't quite add up. This really gets to the heart of the conflict. But hey, we're not just here to talk about the problem. We're here to talk about the solution, because there is this powerful, often ignored legal tool that's literally designed to level the playing field. That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When you get a statement and your gut is screaming that something is off, what can you actually do? You can't just take their word for it. Well, the answer is tucked away inside a single clause. And boom, there he is, audit rights. Now, I know it sounds super formal and complicated, but the idea is actually really simple. It's your contractual right to bring in your own team of experts to look at the labels books and make absolutely sure you're getting paid every single penny you're owed. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because we're not just talking about album sales. Your auditor can verify the exact number of streams, they can check up on licensing fees from movies or commercials, they can track down income from other countries, and maybe most importantly, they can scrutinize every single deduction the label has made against your money. So this all sounds pretty great for the artist, right? Which kind of makes you wonder, why on earth would a label ever agree to put this in a contract? Well, as it turns out, it's a calculated risk on their part. It's a quiet gamble. On the surface, it's all about looking fair, transparent. Putting an audit clause in there makes the whole deal seem balanced. But underneath all that, the labels are making a bet that you will never, ever actually use it. And this lays out that gamble perfectly. The illusion is one of fairness and trust. But the reality is that labels are banking on the fact that most artists just don't have the cash to launch an audit. They're counting on those small and sometimes, not so small accounting errors to just slip right on by, completely unnoticed. And these are the very real walls they're betting on. An audit is not cheap. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. It's not fast either. It can take months. A lot of artists just don't know the first thing about the process. And then there's that very real fear. The fear that if you challenge your label, it could hurt your career. It's a powerful cocktail of deterrence. But what happens when an artist does call the label's bluff? What happens when they push past all those barriers and actually go through with an audit? Well, what they find is often absolutely staggering. You could call these the usual suspects. Time and time again, audits turn up royalties that were just never reported, sync fees from a TV show that somehow never made it into the artist's account, money from international sales just sitting in a foreign bank, uncollected. And then there are the expenses that have been mysteriously inflated, just eating away at the artist's share. Just let that number sink in for a second. We are not talking about a few $1,000 here and there. It is not at all uncommon for these audits to uncover over $1 million in unpaid royalties. That isn't just a rounding error. That's life-changing money. And don't for a second think this is just a problem for new artists. Some of the biggest names in the history of music have had to use their audit rights to fight back. We're talking legends like TLC, Kanye West, and Prince. They all got into major disputes that started because of what an audit found. So yeah, the stakes are incredibly high. But here's the good news. You do not have to be a superstar to protect yourself. Let's switch gears and get practical. Let's walk through how you can make this powerful tool actually work for you. Okay, think of this as your action plan. First, you got to know your deadline. Most contracts only give you a 2 or 3 year window to audit a statement, so you can't wait around. Second, hire a specialist. You need a forensic accountant who lives and breathes music royalties. Third, make sure your contract gives you access to everything, not just some summary page. Fourth, if the cost is an issue, look into artist collectives that might pull their resources. And finally, remember this. Even just the threat of an audit can suddenly make a label much more careful with their math next time around. When you really get down to it, while recovering the money is obviously the main goal, the true power of an audit goes way deeper than that. It's really about shifting the entire balance of power. This is what it all boils down to. In an industry that can so often feel stacked against the person creating the art, audit rights are the quiet equalizer. They serve as a powerful reminder to the label that you are a business partner, not just a passive employee. It's a mechanism for accountability. I really love this final quote because it completely reframes the whole issue. See, conducting an audit isn't an aggressive act. It's not about starting a fight. It's an act of self-reliance. It's an act of independence. It's you, the artist, taking control of your own business and your own career. And so we'll just leave you with this question, a question for every artist out there. Your contract contains a hidden power. The only question is whether you'll choose to use it. So, is your label's math adding up for you? Because you have every right to find out.